Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 65 of the Social Liability Podcast, the podcast where we talk about those folks in our lives that violate the social contracts that we all agree to live by. I am your host, the Raspberries, with my co-host, the Buck Grundle, bringing you new and interesting stories from the far reaches of the internet. Buck, what have you sent me this week? Because there's no real discernible theme here, so I'm just kind of going off of the eclectic nature of what you sent me. And we came up with the title for this week's episode, Masked Issues, Now with Cats.
Well, in tried and true social liability, standards, I guess, yeah. Well, let me just start off by saying that here on the Social Liability Podcast, we've lowered expectations to the point that it would be surprising if you could be disappointed by anything other than the fact that you didn't listen. So that being said, while I go headline hunting, I'm like, who looks like a real drag to society here? And I think we got a lady who just can't. It's a lady. It's the story that we got about the lady with the picture, and we'll move on. And and I chortle a little bit, like. I used to get a little frustrated that I don't read them ahead of time. It's like, I kind of want to know what I'm going into. But it's like, rarely does it happen that we ever get like a hornet's nest to fall on us once we start reading an article. So it's like, okay. And just before we get started, I want to remind everybody that, Raz and I at the end of each one of these give our contestants, so to speak.
The contestants of the day.
Yeah, well, it's a social liability podcast. These guys are front runners. I don't just pick anybody. These guys, they made it here. But no, we give them a score from 1 to 5 on the social liability scale. There's not a complicated algorithm to how we do this. It's just Raz and I basically look at the person and go, on a scale of 1 to 5, this person's this big of a douchebag. So, again, we invite you to comment along with us. We'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on some of these folks. And, if you feel so inclined, make sure you drop us a comment and, let us know if you agree with anything that we're saying.
And if you also happen to run across some stories that you think we might find interesting, you can also send them to us at socialliability@icloud.com. But let's jump right into it with our first story from Click Orlando. Woman threw cat into river, threatened to kill ex-boyfriend. And I wish for those of you that are listening on the audio-only version could see this woman's mugshot, because we made the thumbnail on our YouTube channel for this one. But this is being reported out of Oak Hill, Florida. A cat named Stanley is expected to be okay after an Oak Hill woman threw the animal into a river while it was locked inside of a crate. Deputies arrested Christina Thistle, 53, on Thursday at a mobile home park in Oak Hill. I love how they have to throw that in there. It's a mobile home park, just in case you were wondering. Just in case you were wondering, investigators said Thistle and her ex-boyfriend were in an argument about the man not moving out of their home fast enough after their relationship ended. The man told investigators that Thistle picked up the crate holding a 9-month-old cat and threw it into the intercoastal waterway, according to the arrest report. The man then jumped into the water to rescue Stanley, according to deputies. Investigators said when they arrived, the man was wet and had the cat wrapped in a towel. Thistle denied throwing the cat into the water. She was arrested and charged with animal cruelty. While in custody, deputies said Thistle demanded to be taken to the jail so she could, quote, make a phone call, bond out, and murder her ex-boyfriend. You're already in some shit. How do I make this worse? I fucking know.
Sometimes the best way to put out a fire is to let it burn.
Records show the woman had several domestic violence charges on her criminal record. Following the threat, Thistle was also facing charges of simple assault. She has been held in the county jail without bond. That's... How many times in our law enforcement careers have we looked at somebody and said, now's a good time for you to exercise that right to remain silent?
Yes. Like when the police are telling you to shut the fuck up, you better just shut the fuck up. like, like, uh, okay. So first, I would like to address first off that the writer of this article did a great job of portraying the living environment of this particular person. Mobile home park. I was very delighted to hear this because now I have a good mental image of exactly what I'm looking at because a mobile home park that there's like a scale, okay? So like trailer park, you're like, nah. No. Mobile home park, that's one step up. One step up more. And you go into the double wides and you're in a mobile home community.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. Like you really get a viewpoint of where this person's foundations are because, it's like, all right, Miss Thistle, I get it. I get that you're having some problems, but if you just try just a little bit harder, 2 more promotions and you may just squeak above that poverty line and kind of just not have to deal with this shit. But then again, we wouldn't have found you. So thank you again.
Thank you, Miss Thistle.
oh my gosh. She just threw the cat in the road. It would have been flat Stanley instead of in the river. Just poor Stanley.
No. Wow. Okay. So when we're discussing the scores, we come up with what kind of douche canoe is this person? She's a fucking douche canoe. I mean, that's just all there is to it. She walks in the room, all you hear is douche. You don't fucking take out your frustration on small animals, let alone ones that are completely defensive because they're locked in a goddamn box. So that's pretty high. But then you hear the fact that this is a woman, reportedly, who has domestic violence charges. That takes some goddamn doing. It doesn't.
Yeah, buddy.
There are just as many female abusers out there as there are male. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it is difficult for them to actually get charged. It just doesn't happen. I mean, I was convinced that when we worked in the prison system that I even said it. Like I said, ugly, good-looking women don't go to jail. Only ugly women go to jail.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just think that you could put makeup on just about anything and make it look nice. And, all those women in there just don't have access to it. So, I mean, like... But look at the size.
Look at the size of our housing units. No. Look at the size of our housing units. We had these giant male blocks and these teeny-weeny female blocks because women don't go to jail. Women don't get charged with domestic violence. Women are never considered, stereotypically, for right or wrong, they are never considered to be the aggressor. So the fact that this woman has multiple domestic violence charges means that she has made quite the impression on the local community.
Right. And factoring that into play, I'd have to rate this mental math magician somewhere. Let her crest a 4.
I think I'm going to agree with you, Buck. Let's let her eke into the 4 territory, because I do think there is a difference between humans and animals, but this animal is completely defenseless, and then she did threaten to kill a human being in front of police officers, so she's not only fucking stupid, she's also a cunt. So, moving on. We're moving on to Panama City, the News Herald. 15 months pregnant? Panama City woman faked condition to get paid time off from work. A Panama City woman lied about being pregnant and having several illnesses to scam her employer and co-workers out of paid time off. According to a Panama City Police Department news release, Hannah Catherine Frith, 33, was arrested on Wednesday and charged with grand theft and scheming to defraud her employer by allegedly taking advantage of her co-workers and her employer-paid benefits, a scheme that netted her more than $17,000 worth of paid leave and other benefits. Wow. She is currently incarcerated in the Bay County Jail, but according to the release, Frith was being began providing her employer with forged doctor's notes in March of 2020, claiming various medical conditions that prevented her from working in an office environment and only allowed her to work from home on a limited basis. During the next 15 months, doctor's notes were provided by Frith that included medical conditions such as a high-risk pregnancy, pregnancy with twins, a shunt placed in her brain, 2 emergency surgeries, and a cesarean section birth. Wow. While Frith was out of work, she exhausted all of her paid leave provided by her employer. Frith's co-workers then donated their paid leave to help her out, and Frith's employer provided additional benefits. After a follow-up was initiated with multiple medical agencies that Frith claimed to have been treated by, it was found that almost in every case, she was never a patient at their agency. This included the fraudulent pregnancies, the release stated. The PCPD is urging anyone with information to call, and tips anonymously reported through a smartphone app downloaded by Panama City PD. What a piece of shit!
To the truth, man. What in the shit? Okay. While you were reading, this is so bizarre. I just decided to, pull up a couple of animal gestation period statistics. Just kind of like we can blow the lid wide off of this because, a year is 365 days. So I'm not going to sit here and try to, discern exactly what 15 months would be. But we know that the average female is pregnant for about 40 weeks. Okay. So, we're just going to go up into the upper echelon of things, keep it time sensitive here and reduce it to the ridiculous. The only animals that I see on this list that even come close to even, whatever I would consider to be in that range would be a giraffe, who gestates from 420 to 450 days. Let's see here.
Say an elephant's got to be up there pretty high.
Well, hold on. I think we might have I didn't even know it was, the sperm whale. Yeah, 480 to 590 days. Poor mama sperm whale. That's quite a spread. But, let's look at the elephant. African elephant, 645 days.
Wow.
That's like this lady's not like. How could anybody even buy into this cockamamie shit?
But the sad part about the whole situation is, wow. I'm gonna go ahead and mute Buck there, but geez, Buck, you give me a signal when you're good to be unmuted. But what I was gonna say is the United States has a very, when it comes to our leave and the amount of work, especially for people going through a pregnancy, and I say people because as far as I'm concerned, fathers should get paternity leave as well. It's one of the lowest in civilized nations right now. Most countries have much longer periods of parental leave. And the fact that this woman is now exploiting this, her employer is bending over backwards for this woman. He's giving her additional time off. He's allowing a sick bank to be done, which, let me tell you this, having a system for maintaining and distributing hours through a sick bank with employees, donating, that is a tax nightmare. Because you can't just go, let's an hour for an hour, because they have different pay rates. So you have to go monetary. It's such a pain in the ass. It really is. So this employer and her coworkers, oh my God, this maybe some other countries have it right. Maybe she should be taken through the street and they all get a couple whacks at her.
I'm not really a big fan of public shaming punishment, but in this particular instance, I just...
No, this isn't shame. This is physical violence. No.
I understand that. I was just, I can't really argue with you on that one, man, because it's some of the most despicable. It's, women like this are the reason why health insurance is such a convoluted web of shit to begin with. The outright and disgusting abuse of the system is one of the biggest perpetrating factors into why people have such a difficulty getting help when they fucking need it.
Well, here's the thing, and I can tell you this from my experience because I was an insurance fraud investigator. 9 out of every 10 claims is fraudulent. That doesn't mean it starts out that way. It just means it has a fraudulent component. Most people, when they file like a workers' comp claim, for example, it starts out like, yes, you were hurt. But then after you spend that 3 weeks at home getting paid to sit at home, well, this is pretty damn nice. When I go back to the doctor, well, are you feeling okay back to work? I don't know, doc. It still kind of hurts. Well, we'll give you another 2 weeks. Thanks, doc. I think that'll be a big help. There's a fraudulent component. Man, that vape is loud. So there's a fraudulent component. And that is the reason for the insurance industry having a stranglehold on us, because the employers, as an employer, you have to carry this insurance, because there is no way in God's green earth would you ever be able to afford paying out workers' comp claims. You really can't. I work for a place that is a self-insured entity, and we have about 200 employees, and I handle all the workers' comp stuff. But what I'm saying is, like, there was a year, this is well before I came in, where they had to allocate over $670,000 for workers' comp payments in a 1-year period. That's ludicrous. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
and like I said, yeah, that's the type of abuse that just makes it so difficult.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this lady another 4. No. You know what? I'm gonna escalate her to a 5 based on the long con aspect of her actions and making it harder for others potentially. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give her a 5 for being a major contributor to this problem.
I'm teetering. I'm not sure if I want to go 4 or I want to go to 5, because nobody was physically hurt. So that is one thing. But when you consider now that you have jaded how many people, that now when they see that person needs help, they'll be like, sorry, I've been burnt before.
Well, remember though, $17,000 is what they estimate is her takeaway from this, so to speak, regardless in time, hours, like her monetary gain from this has been calculated to 17 grand. And that's in the scale of like outright theft and stuff like that, I'd consider that like minor league-ish. But the overall outcome of this, like all the hours that it takes for these people to process these claims, all the doctors that could have been seeing people that needed fucking help, all the, all the factors that this lady's false claims made into the algorithm that calculates everybody else's fucking insurance premiums. Like, I'm telling you, man, you did the fraud end of it, but I did the not so much the analytical side, but the office side of this, the sales, the construction of policies, things like that. So,
but at the same time, she's keeping all those people employed. Just saying that too. She's doing her part to help the economy. That's going to be her defense in court. Well, next we move to local news 10.
Well, what are you going to give her, man? What are you going to give her? 4 or 5?
I'm going to go 4.
Okay.
Yep. So, local news 10, this is being out of Miami Beach, Florida. A woman fetches a mop from a drugstore to fend off masturbating man. Yes. A woman tried to put an end to a man masturbating outside of a Miami Beach drugstore by going inside and getting a mop with the intent of striking him. But before she could take any action, police were already seen. Wow, this is like bad. Police had already seen Geraldo Palacio exposing himself and touching himself in front of the store. On Thursday, August 19th, just before 10 p.m., Miami Beach police officers were patrolling the 1400 block of Collins Avenue, according to a report, when they saw Palacio and a woman standing over him shouting, "You are disgusting." As police approached the scene, the woman had stormed off into the Walgreens along with 2 children and returned with the mop. When she saw police, according to the report, she told them that Palacio had been following her and her children for several blocks while openly masturbating behind them. Police said that he then sat in front of the drugstore and continued his actions in front of other bystanders. He also shouted to one of the officers, "I love you, baby. You are my boyfriend." Palacchio, 55, was addressed on the report as was listed as homeless and was arrested for lewd and lascivious exhibition of a child. The woman did not face any charges despite her alleged intent to insult the man. She and her children were asked if they needed assistance, such as a support person to speak with, but they denied the services. The woman did not face any charges despite her alleged intent to assault the man. Well, why do we have to say that twice? Get some better writers. Come on. But I think this has to bring back one of our favorite segments of the show, Buck.
Florida man, does whatever the fuck he can. Makes headlines every time. Florida's paradigm. Look out! Here comes Florida man.
I didn't realize it was a Florida man story until we had already started reading. I normally do that before the article. But dear God, I mean, this is there a mental health aspect, or this guy being homeless just want 3 hots and a cot for a while?
Yeah, that's a good question, because those kind of things do happen.
But absolutely happen.
Oh man, we had a couple of residents like that. But either way, going back to the meat and potatoes, it would be hard to say if this guy, he might just be like an over obsessed wino. He might have just been drunk and never really said. The article wasn't that great written.
It wasn't. There wasn't a whole lot to it, but you gotta love the chutzpah of the mom. She's just like, you know what? I'll handle this shit.
I'll tell you what, if she'd have grabbed a Swiffer, that would have been a great product placement. I mean, oh man, we could have made a commercial out of that.
Go on.
I'm just saying, like, that's the ideal, like, if you're going to grab something with a handle that can somewhat look into, I just want to know if it's like, what kind of mop was it?
A Swiffer typically has a plastic handle, maybe aluminum.
Yeah. I'm not talking.
No, I want that cheap ass fucking mop with the head that you screw on and off. That's made out of fucking wood, so you have something to swing.
Like that's why I'm wondering. I'm like, Swiffer would have been a great commercial or a great story, but man, if it was like one of those prison mops, man, like, I'm telling you what, man. No, I'm not even joking around. Like, prison mops, dude. Those things, if you attached a little bit of duct tape, maybe a kitchen knife or something like that, you'd have a Shaolin spade, man. I mean, like, those things are, wow, those are legit.
It's actually I'm kind of shocked that in all the years it combined that we've never seen anybody swing one of those mops.
That's because, you know what, those guys just, they knew we were hardcore, man. They saw Raz and Buck. They saw Raz and Buck come on the block. They're like, "Oh man, they brought the thunder."
No, they saw Raz and they went fuck and they went to bed. They saw you. They're like, "Woo! It's party time."
Pretty much.
You fucking hugger.
As long as you, hey man, no. I'm a math magician, man. 78-1 never wins. Okay, 78-1 never wins.
I always win.
Unless you're golfing.
I always won.
I never wanted to, but see, I'm not a competitor. It was easier for me to be like, I think the camera can see you there. Would you mind breaking that rule just about 6 feet back? Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You were like this close to being dirty. You know that?
You know what, though? I'm like Teflon, man. Nothing sticks to my ass.
All right, let's talk about scoring wise. What do you think we're dealing with here?
I'd give it. You know what? I mean, there's a lot going on that we could only speculate on. So based off the information provided, I'm gonna have to chalk this up to like mental health / life circumstances. The amalgamation of the foresaid things combining into a shit blizzard just turned this guy into a fruitcake, and I'll give him a 2.
I was actually right there on 2 with you. We went to Tulsa last weekend, and we went to an escape room, we were like, the escape room, really nice. It was really clean. Everything was good. But it was in a really shitty part of town. And there was a lot of... we thought there was a dead body. He wasn't dead. Just sure as hell looked like it. But when we came out, it was even worse because there was one with his pants around his ankles dancing in the streets. There was another one that was just basically sitting there waiting for the person to rob. You could tell that was coming. But homelessness, 90% of the time, or if not more, it has a certain mental health aspect to it. So you've got to take that into consideration. Did he hurt anybody? No. Mentally scar them, perhaps.
Well, like, we share this rock with about 7.8 billion other people. So, you got to factor that into the stuff that you see every day that's kind of like off-putting or uncanny. I'm not giving this guy, like, nobody has carte blanche to run around and fucking, whack off in front of people. I'm not saying that. But when you look at it, it's like maybe there really wasn't any malice there. It doesn't make it right, but remember, when you look in the mirror, you only get the perspective of one person. There's a lot of other things going on with a lot of other people that could create these things. They're not right, they're not great, but just remember that before you go, hating too much on people. Like, now then again, though, there are some genuinely asshole people that we make fun of on a daily basis, and
at least on Saturdays.
Man, like, they truly deserve to be here. But I mean, like, mental health guys, it's like, you just gotta kind of be like, you get to do.
All right, folks, this is the part during our audio podcast you'd be hearing a commercial for Anchor. But since we're not on the audio podcast, I don't have to plug them. So I'm just going to plug us. If you're watching us now on our YouTube channel, we ask that you simply like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Perhaps leave a comment. All that kind of stuff helps us because it gets us put into the YouTube algorithm, which sucks. And more people will get some eyes on us. So anything you can do on that end is greatly appreciated. Just remember that the Social Liability Podcast, it doesn't cost a thing. All we ask is that you pay attention. We don't ask for money. We don't ask for nothing. We just ask for you to look at Buck and say, wow, I really need to hit the subscribe button because that guy, he could use it today.
I really could, man. Hit the notification bell, too, while you're at it. Hey, man, if you don't ask, the answer's always no, right?
Right on. All right, let's get back live on the audio in 5, 4, 3, 2. We're still live. You heard me counting down after the commercial. It's because I hit the record button before I stopped counting. That's okay. We're a haphazard production. We're not sponsored. We're not getting money from anyone, so you get what you're given. Buck, we're coming up on your favorite story of the week, and this is coming out of Yucatan Magazine. Where the hell did you even find this article? Jealous wife stabs husband after seeing her younger self in old photos. A woman stabbed her husband several times after thinking she found photos of him with a younger woman. It turns out that she herself was the other woman. The photo of the couple was taken years ago when they were dating, police said in Sonora, Mexico. Authorities from the municipality of, I don't know, Cajeme? What is that? I don't know. Reported that the suspect, identified only as Lenora N., was arrested after wounding her husband, Juan N., with a knife after finding several photos on his cell phone. The husband who managed to take the knife from her explained that the photos were of them back when they were more youthful and slim. Juan apparently convinced his wife that he had digitized the old snapshots to store on his cell phone. Unfortunately for the man, the police arrived at the scene after neighbors heard the screaming and sounds of the scuffle. Local media last reported the woman was being detained by authorities pending charges. Okay, first off, don't put your dick in crazy. Apparently, he's been doing it for years. And during your explanation, don't call your wife fat.
Yeah, no. No. That's definitely a no. That is a marriage faux pas.
I mean, he didn't really say, "Hey, you're fat now." It says this is back when we were slim and youthful.
That's now see, to you and I, that's a very benign statement, but to somebody who's holding a knife at you,
Not so benign.
perhaps you should remove the plural pronouns from your vernacular when describing physical physique. You know, it's like maybe I want to. It's like no. We. I meant you. You no. Me and the mouse in my pocket. You know.
But the thing is, he's saying that, at least he said we, when we were more youthful and we were more slim. But the fact is, she thought that was a current photo, so apparently he hasn't changed all that much.
Exactly. Seemingly benign. There's a lot of layers on that cake, buddy. You stick a fork in there, and you'll peel back a little bit more than you may have wanted. I'm just saying.
Well, she didn't stick a fork in there. She stuck a knife in there.
Poor guy, poor lady.
Poor Juan.
Yeah. One way or another, he paid for that. Ha!
He didn't pay for shit. He now is owed a debt. I mean, this dude, he put photos of him and his wife so he could have the photos on his phone all the time, and he got stabbed for it. I mean, this dude, he did nothing wrong at all, other than calling his wife fat inadvertently.
Now, see, this is the kind of stuff that we like to find. Like, ooh, I was excited about this headline. This turned out to be everything I want. Oh, man. Oh. It's like when you go down the stairs on Christmas, you see that package, you're like, is it a sweater or is it a fucking Xbox? Oh, man, it was an Xbox. Woo! I'm going to give this lady a 2 again.
Yeah, there's physical violence involved, and she apparently is pretty insecure. And
the only reason I'm not giving her a 1 is because there really was no flag on the fucking play on the other end of this story here. This woman just completely went off on a tirade, and I flew off the handle. Knee-jerk reaction. You get a 2. Yeah. Can't imagine what would happen if something bad went wrong in public.
Yeah, let's go with a 2. So the next is being reported by CBS 13, West Virginia. Man charged with growing marijuana allegedly claims he doesn't trust drug dealers.
Oh, I hope this is another Xbox, man.
Buchanan, West Virginia. The Upshur County man has been charged with marijuana eradication after marijuana eradication detail troopers located 16 plants while searching the area in a helicopter. 16 fucking plants, that's it? They had a helicopter for 16 plants?
I don't know. Maybe they were training somebody on how to fly that thing.
How much? Okay, Buck, you're self-purported weed expert. How much can I get from 16 plants?
A lot.
Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, now, you're not gonna be Pablo Escobar, but you're definitely not gonna have to go see a drug dealer.
Fair enough.
Even if it's a cold winter, you're gonna be fine.
Really? I didn't think you'd get that much off the plant, because you're just getting the bud. It's not the whole plant, it's not the leaves, it's the bud.
Yeah, but those things grow 6 feet fucking tall, man. There's a lot of buds on that plant. They grow out to be depending on the plant you get, they could be 12 and a half, 18-inch bud. and then you got like 6 feet going up with like 40 of them on there. It's like, oh,
Dude,
okay.
What is with your dogs today?
I don't know. They're outside.
Oh,
like
they
they're
weren't outside
gone.
earlier.
No, they weren't. They weren't. My crippled hand couldn't hit the mute button quick enough. I'm sorry about that. But either way, man, like 16 plants, like that's an attractive spread.
But the fact
Like,
that I'm just shocked they could see 16 plants from a helicopter. That's pretty impressive.
nah, you know what? I mean, I see this guy's picture here, and I'm not really thinking that he did a great job being discreet about his crop plantation, about his crop placement.
This is like a Ted Kaczynski looking motherfucker. This is for sure.
Like, a police chopper, like, it doesn't say that the police chopper specifically went out looking for marijuana.
Well, so the eradication team in West Virginia, what they do is they literally go out and they look for a hidden crop. A lot of times in West Virginia, I know this because I've done this, not grown it, but went out looking for it in West Virginia. They will simply go out, and when they want to plant a crop, they don't plant it on their own property. Typically, they'll go out in the woods or on someone's, or even on state land sometimes, in an open field, and they'll just plant it sporadically. And they'll have detailed maps. You'll find trail cams up there and everything where they've been watching their crops and everything like that. But that way, if somebody ever finds it, they can't trace it back to them. Apparently, this guy wasn't so smart.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the thing, man. Like, I doubt. Like, look at this man's picture and tell me that this guy's like a fucking horticulturist and like a crack heist planning like clandestine marijuana plantation. No.
You said he's not a You said he's not a horticulturist, but have you met people that grow pot plants? They know more about growing these plants.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't look like that guy. What he looks like is somebody who has a buddy that was like, yeah, I bet you I could grow some pot plants. And he's like, no way. Oh, I got 14 acres behind my house. Big old plantation. We can see it right from the kitchen window and just watch the progress as it grows. And they're probably sitting there brainstorming this. And then like, oh, police chopper, like doing its rounds. I can see the guy. I can see them like flying through, like training a dude on how to do this. And it's like, okay, we're gonna fly through this area just so you get like a feel for the helicopter. You'll never find anything here. And then boom, the guy's like, well, I'll be a shit-covered dick. Well, they're in West Virginia. They say cool shit like that all the time. But now, man, like, so dude's up there flying around. He's like, you'll never find anything here. He's like, oh, fuck. Looks out the window. He's like, no way. No way. No way. And then, boom, he finds like, this guy.
Well,
it's like, well, he tells his trainees, like, there's an anomaly everywhere, kid. Don't expect this to happen. Like, nope. Been here 30 years. It's the first and the last time, buddy.
Well, additionally, the criminal complaint claims Conroy allegedly told troopers he grew the marijuana plants because he didn't trust drug dealers and that he didn't like pain pills. While searching the garden, troopers say they found 16 marijuana plants growing, and once they were allowed to search the home, they found 7 jars of what is presumed to be marijuana. Trust me, if you think it's marijuana, it is. Troopers searched the substance, and each substance consisted with marijuana. Dealing with the search, according to the complaint, Conroy has been charged with cultivation of marijuana. Is that really even a charge anymore?
Not in Virginia.
See, I live in a state where there is a weed shop on every corner. There is, if you're a member of the Choctaw or the Chickasaw Nation, you can have up to 6 plants in your home. That's per person, and it's around here. Marijuana is an everyday thing. It just is. other places in the country are kind of coming into that same alignment. I fully suspect within next 10 years we're going to have recreational marijuana nationwide, if it even takes that long. I mean, you guys just over there in Virginia just got recreational, correct?
Yep.
Well,
as of July 1st.
Well, as of July 1st, but when's it take effect? Like September 1st or something?
No. As of July 1st, we are a green state now.
But you can't buy it or grow it.
Well, no. Here's the thing: you're allowed to have up to 4 plants in your home per household.
Okay.
But they're not going to open dispensaries until 2024.
Okay.
I don't. Hey, you know what? Hey, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth, man. I didn't think this was even going to happen.
Fair enough. And
yeah, I mean, like, and they already decriminalized it even before it was legal. Like, so what exactly are they going to bust us for? The purchase and sale? I mean, like, okay, well, open a fucking dispensary and stop being a dick. Like, that's why I don't think they'll hold out till 2024. But either way, man, like, this guy gets, again, we're getting a lot of 2s here today.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of 2s. This guy scores a 2 to me. I mean, like, he's not really.
I'm not even gonna give him a 2, dude. I'm not even sure.
I was gonna say that, man.
I'm gonna give him a 1 because he did break the law, and the law of the land is the law of the land. You don't like the law, don't ignore it. Get it changed. But so I'm gonna give him a 1 just for that. I have never smoked pot, never have. But I also don't give a shit about pot, like, at all. No fucks given. Don't care. So I don't really give a shit if the guy had 16 plants in his yard. I mean, if it's for his own personal use, even he's not even selling the shit. He doesn't trust drug dealers. Whatever.
Well,
dude.
I mean, like, yeah, but you know, with 16 plants, like they had to have bought into his logic, because with 16 plants they could have busted him for a lot more than just cultivation.
Well, yeah, probably, because they didn't even charge him with the stuff inside the house.
Right. I mean, like, they didn't charge him with anything other than the physical presence of plants, because, you know, dude just didn't know how to hide his shit. So,
yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm inclined to too, just because I really believe that I'm being judgmental with this, but I really believe that he could have done a better job of keeping that shit under wraps. Just by looking at him, it's purely speculative, but that's why I'm giving him a higher than a 1.
I give him the 1 just because he broke the law. Don't care about anything else. Moving on into our main event of the evening. This is being reported by ABC News. Texas father strips down the swimsuit to take stance on school mask mandates. As mask mandates have spurred heated debates at school board meetings nationwide, one Texas man took a bold approach in showing his support. He stripped down to his swim trunks. The stunt occurred during a meeting Monday at the Dripping Springs Independent School District near Austin. James Ackers, a 15-year resident of Dripping Springs, started the 90 seconds he was allotted during the public comments by stating he had 3 children go through the school district and another currently in high school. I'm here to say that I do not like government or any other entity, just ask my wife, telling me what to do. But sometimes I gotta push the envelope a little bit, and I've decided I'm not just going to talk about it, I'm going to walk the walk. Ackers then discussed how much he hated the jacket, shirt, and tie he's required to wear for work, before proceeding to take off all 3. He alluded to the mask opposition and sarcastically talked about driving through 3 stop signs and 4 red lights on his way to the meeting and parking in a handicap space. I almost killed somebody out there, but by God, it's my roads too. So I have every right to drive as fast as I want to. It's simple protocol, people, he continued. By now having removed his pants and standing before the school board meeting in a swimsuit, we follow certain rules for a very good reason. before his time ran out. Board President Barbara Stroud addressed the stunt, which drew a mix of gasps, laughter, and cheers from the crowd. Mr. Ackers, I understand you believe you're a swimmer, but if you wouldn't mind putting your pants back on for the comment, that would be appreciated. Ackers indeed put his pants back on as 2 school district police officers stood nearby before walking away shirtless to minor applause. If we could have order, please, we could continue with our public comment. Ackers further elaborated about his intent with the Austin station KXAN Tuesday, saying it was an easy message. There are too many voices out there, and I think they are digging for a political reason, and absolutely not just thinking about the common sense decisions we make every day to comply with, and everything from driving down the roads and being safe and courteous to other drivers to not parking in handicapped spots. All these rules were given every day, and we follow them because they make sense, and we know ourselves that it makes sense for the community. Masks are currently optional for staff and students at the Dripping Springs Independent School District. Other Texas school districts are requiring masks in defiance of Governor Greg Abbott's executive order barring mask mandates in the state. On Wednesday, a Dallas judge issued a temporary injunction against Abbott's ban, allowing mask mandates be issued by local leaders and school district to remain in place for the time being. I'm giving him a 0.
Yeah, I'll co-sign that. Yeah, I mean that's a very well said. Yeah, I mean the stunt man.
He's wearing a swimsuit. He's fucking.
I mean, yeah, people can say what they want to about that. You know,
he didn't whip his tallywhacker out and didn't show us his brown eye. All right,
right.
Nothing.
And it was at a school board meeting, not at a school. So, I just want to highlight that for anybody who wants to naysay on this guy for his, all he did was a demonstration, and in 90 seconds he made a very eloquent point.
He really did. And it doesn't matter how you feel about the subject. We could make this the coronavirus podcast, and we could talk about it until we're sick of hearing it. And I already am. I deal with this every freaking day, and I'm just COVID'd out. But and it's because of people making stuff into a political thing that it doesn't need to be. The guy makes an excellent point. We follow the rules about stop signs. We follow the rules about stoplights. We follow the rules about handicapped parking spaces, for the most part. Because they make sense, and other rules that are coming out in regards to COVID make sense. Do your community a favor and just make this go away by playing your part. Pretty much.
It's and the thing I like about the article is that it's not saying wear a mask because it's for COVID and this and that, the other thing. It's wear a mask because that's the rule. That's the rule. It doesn't matter if you like the rule. It doesn't matter if you think the rule is right or wrong. It is the rule, and you got to do it.
So, that being said, folks, I think that is going to bring us to an end of another edition of the Social Liability Podcast. I would thank you all for listening. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We do this each and every week. We mostly record on Saturday mornings now. It used to be Fridays. But it's up on our platforms. Usually by lunch on Saturday, you can pretty much get the new episode. You can also watch us online for free during our live recordings on YouTube. Just search for the Social Liability Podcast or the Mount Moon Crew, and I am sure you will find us. You can subscribe on there. Buck, what else do you got? Anything else you want to add to that?
No, just thanks for tuning in, and like, share, and subscribe. We look forward to doing this for you every week. And have a great rest of your day, week, or whatever.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. Have a week.